Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own life? Like you're watching yourself from the outside, wondering how you ended up in this completely different world?
Oh, wow. That question just gave me chills. Yeah, I think every immigrant knows that feeling so deeply.
Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of English Factory.
Where we explore the honest truths of human experience while learning English together.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something that millions of people around the world experience, but rarely talk about openly: the complex emotions that come with immigration. The loneliness, the excitement, the culture shock, the identity crisis, and everything in between. And at the end, we'll also go through vocabulary, meanings, examples, and how to use them.
Mm. And you know what's fascinating? People often ask immigrants, how's life in your new country? Expecting a simple answer. But the truth is, it's like asking someone to describe the ocean while they're drowning and swimming at the same time. It's beautiful and terrifying all in the same breath.
Yes, that's such a perfect way to put it. And I remember my first winter in America. I was sitting in my tiny apartment watching snow fall. Back home, December meant festival lights and family gatherings. But there I was, completely alone, thinking, this is what I dreamed of. But my heart felt so empty.
Oh, I feel that so deeply, Sam. I had a similar experience in Toronto, seeing families having picnics, couples laughing together, and I felt like I was watching life through glass. I was physically there, but emotionally floating somewhere between my old life and this new one that didn't feel like mine yet.
Exactly. And what nobody tells you about immigration is how it affects your identity. Suddenly, I didn't know which version of myself I was supposed to be. At work, colleagues made jokes I didn't understand. Not language, but cultural references I never experienced. I started questioning everything, constantly performing to figure out which version of myself fits in this new world.
That identity confusion is so real. And here's what hit me hard: the guilt. I felt guilty for missing home while living my dream. People would say, "You're so lucky to be here." But how do you explain that luck can feel heavy sometimes? That opportunity can feel overwhelming when you're rebuilding your entire sense of self.
Oh my God, yes! The guilt is the worst part. And culture shock isn't just about big differences, it's the tiny things that break your heart. I remember my first office party, and everyone was doing small talk about weather and weekend plans. I kept waiting for something real, something meaningful. Where I come from, we dive deep quickly. But here I realized surface conversations have their own purpose that I couldn't understand at first.
I know that feeling so well, and you start losing pieces of yourself to fit in. I caught myself apologizing for my accent, making my gestures smaller, laughing less loudly. I was slowly erasing the parts that felt too different. Then, my sister said during a video call, "Bella, you sound different, sadder." That's when I realized I wasn't just adapting, I was disappearing.
That's so powerful and heartbreaking. But immigration doesn't just take things away, it gives you this incredible gift of seeing the world through multiple lenses. You lose your first home, but gain the ability to create a home anywhere. You lose easy belonging, but gain the strength of belonging to yourself.
That's so beautifully said, Sam. And that's what makes immigrants so resilient. We learn to carry multiple worlds inside us. We become bridges between cultures, translators not just of language, but of human experience.
Exactly. And to anyone listening who's going through this journey, your feelings are valid. All of them. The excitement and the loneliness, the gratitude and the grief. You don't have to choose one emotion. Immigration is messy and complex, and so are you. And that's perfectly okay.
So perfectly said. And speaking of complex emotions, shall we slowly move into today's vocabulary? Because the words we use to describe our immigrant experience can actually help us process and understand these feelings better.
Yes, let's explore the language of this beautiful, complicated journey together. Immigration, the process of moving to live permanently in a foreign country. Her immigration to Canada changed her entire perspective on life.
Culture shock, the confusion and anxiety experienced when encountering an unfamiliar culture. The culture shock hit him hardest during his first holiday season away from home.
Identity crisis, a period of uncertainty about one's sense of self. Immigration triggered an identity crisis that lasted several months.
Bittersweet, having both happy and sad elements. Watching the sunset from her new apartment felt bittersweet.
Assimilate, to adapt and integrate into a new culture. She struggled to assimilate while maintaining her cultural identity.
Homesickness, a longing for one's home and family during absence. The homesickness was strongest during traditional holidays.
Displacement, the feeling of being out of place or forced from one's natural environment. The displacement she felt wasn't just physical, it was emotional too.
Resilience, the ability to recover and adapt after difficult experiences. Immigration taught her incredible resilience.
Alienation, feeling isolated or estranged from others. The language barrier created a sense of alienation at work.
Adaptation, the process of adjusting to new conditions. His adaptation to the climate took longer than expected.
Nostalgia, a sentimental longing for the past. Nostalgia for her childhood home would hit unexpectedly.
Integration, the process of combining or joining with a new community. Social integration proved more challenging than professional success.
Overwhelmed, feeling unable to cope with too much at once. She felt overwhelmed by the number of cultural differences to navigate.
Belonging, the feeling of being accepted and part of something. Finding belonging in a new country takes time and patience.
Isolation, the state of being alone or separated from others. Physical isolation was easier to handle than emotional isolation.
Transition, the process of changing from one state to another. The transition from student to immigrant was more difficult than expected.
Heritage, cultural traditions and values passed down through generations. She worried about losing her heritage while adapting to new customs.
Perspective, a particular way of viewing or understanding something. Immigration gave him a broader perspective on global issues.
Vulnerability, the state of being open to emotional hurt or damage. Immigration requires embracing vulnerability and uncertainty.
Empathy, the ability to understand and share others' feelings. Her immigration experience gave her deep empathy for other newcomers.
Okay, that's all for today's vocabulary. Wow, we covered some really powerful words, didn't we?
Yeah, And what strikes me is how each word carries so much human experience. They're not just English vocabulary, they're the language of courage, of people who chose to rebuild their lives in new places.
So beautifully said. And to all our listeners who are on this immigration journey, we want to hear from you. What emotions have surprised you the most? What has been harder than expected or more beautiful than you imagined? Share your stories with us and please subscribe for more honest conversations about life and language.
And remember, feeling everything at once doesn't make you ungrateful, it makes you human. Your journey matters, your feelings are valid, and you're braver than you know.
And never forget, home isn't just a place, it's also who you become along the way. You carry your strength with you wherever you go. See you next time. Bye.